Okay. Bless you. So today this is the 20th week. This is what we're calling the 20th week. The essential question that we are trying to figure out today is how do we read and write numbers that's in scientific notation? It's 8.4 scientific notation. So I'm going to start off today by asking you a question. Okay. So I would like you to copy this down. Okay, that's a big number. I would like you to copy that down, and then I would like you to say that number to yourself. Okay? Go ahead and say that number to yourself. Okay, would anybody like to tell us how to read this number right here? Anybody want to try? Go ahead, Morgan. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead and try. He just says it's some ginormous number. Can anyone read it to us? Yeah, what do you think? Wow, that's pretty good. That's really, really good. Nicely done.
Is that correct?
Nicely done. Now, what if I did this?
Okay, that's not fair.
Okay, now what number is that?
Wait, did we write that down?
Yeah, go ahead. You can write that down too. Now what number is that? Yeah. This is big, right? Okay, why is it? You know what? Like human beings, like you and me, human beings, we're pretty good up to a certain point talking about numbers, right? We're pretty good up to a certain point. But there comes a point where we just can't say the number anymore, right? We can't fathom what it is, okay? That's what we use, and we should have a better way of writing this. I mean, we're pretty smart. We're an evolved species. We should have a better way of writing this. That's why we have to understand and use scientific notation. And the same goes for very, very small numbers, right? So if I erased this, right, and I put that number, I put that, I put a decimal, and then I wrote all these zeros out, and I put a 7 here. What number is that? 0.7. Yeah, that's not 0.7, but there is a point and there is a 7 in it. So I'm saying really big numbers, really small numbers, we're not so good at. Numbers in between, we're okay at. So that's the importance of why we're going to be doing this. Okay, so let's talk about scientific notation. Now, many of you say you have heard of this before, so I'm curious, does anyone understand the definition of what specifically makes a number in scientific notation? Anybody got it? No? Okay, so here we go. It's a number in the form of the following, okay? It has to be, it's kind of a big one, C times 10 to the n. But there's some stipulations here, okay? 1 has to be less than or equal to C, which has to be strictly less than 10. So this number right here has to match this result or this rule. That C has to be in between 1 and 10. It cannot be 10, but it can be 1. Okay? And the n, this n part up here, the n is an integer. What's an integer again? Yeah, positive or negative whole number, right? Positive or negative whole number. All right? So that right there is our definition for scientific notation. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to highlight this, and I want you to come up with a level 1 question that can be answered. Some parameters. All right. We're going to do some practice problems. We're going to do a couple together here, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to write this number in scientific notation. I'm going to give you the number. We're going to talk about it, how to do it. And the number is this. 7, 820, 000.00. Okay. Can anybody read that number? That's kind of in the middle there. Anybody read it? Yeah, go ahead. 7,820,000. You guys agree with that? 7.8 million, right? 7,820,000. Okay. Is that number in scientific notation? Yes or no? No, it's not. Can someone tell me why that this number is not in scientific notation? Yes, sir. Carlos. Okay. Yes, sir. Sasha. Because this number is way bigger than 10. This number is 7,820,000. Now the question is, how do you make a number smaller? Because this number is way too big, right? We all agree it's too big. So the question is, how do we make it smaller? Carlos, what do you got, buddy? The decimal. That's the key. Okay, which way do I move it, though? I move it to the left. Okay, if I move it 1, 2, 3, if I stop right there, now what number have I created? 7,820. That number is definitely smaller, but it's not small enough, right? So I have to keep going. So where should I stop? Between the 7 and the 8. Very good. So what we're doing is this is going to be 7.82. 7.82. Multiply it by 10. Now we have to figure out what integer we're going to raise it to. And we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We went 6 places. So this number in scientific notation, because this number here is in between 1 and 10, right? Less than or equal to that, that's our C, and then this number here is our integer. Okay, let's do the next one here. I'm going to give you a number. It's going to be 0.00401. Okay. Is that number written in scientific notation? Yes or no? Yes or no? Is that number in scientific notation? Yes or no? No. How come? Someone tell me why. Yes. It's less than 1. So my number's too small. I need to make my number what? Bigger or smaller? Bigger. How do I make a number bigger? Move the decimal. So let's see here. Where should I move it to? Right there? Between the 4 and the 0. Very good. So that should be 4.01 times 10. Now, my integer needs to be what? Positive or negative? Has to be negative. Very good. So what should it be? 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that correct? Oh, wait, no. 1, 2, 3. I went 3. Negative 3. 4.01 times 10 to the negative 3. Now, this number is in scientific notation because this number is in between 1 and 10, and this number is an integer. You guys with me so far still? Okay, good. I want you to try this one on your own. Okay. 6,873. And then I want you to try one on your own. Can you talk about these now? No. There we go. Let's talk about these, please. Anybody got an answer for part C there? 6,873. Okay, go ahead. What do you got? He says 6.873 times 10 to the third. Who agrees? Hands up. Let the record show. I'd say about 90% of the class has their hands up. Okay. Very good. Okay, part D. I would agree with that. Let's do part D. Who's got an answer for part D? Yes, Anthony, what'd you say?
7 times 10 to the 0.
Oh, man, you nailed it right on the head. This is 7.0 times 10 to the 0. This is a trick question. You do. If I asked you right away, is the number 7 in scientific notation? The answer would be no. And the reason the answer would be no is because it's not written in this form. It has to look like this. And we have to have times 10, and we have to have that integer up there. So thank goodness that we now know that any number raised to the 0 power is just 1. So since 10 to the 0 is equal to 1, this is just 7 times 1, which is exactly 7. Now I saw a couple of answers that look like this, 7.0 times 10 to the first. What number is that? That's the number 70, 7 times 10, which is not equal to the number 7. So you got to be careful. We have to use a 0 exponent on that. Okay? What do you guys think so far? Is that pretty good? Okay, last box here. Anybody have any questions before we come to our last box? All right, we're going to go the opposite direction now. I'm going to give you a number. Yeah, I'm going to give you 9.89 times 10 to the 9th power. We're going to write this in standard form. Okay, so here's how you do it. Is your number going to be bigger or smaller than 3.89? It's going to be bigger because you're multiplying by a 10 to the 9th power. So here's how I do it, okay? I write down a 3.89, and then I just start putting a bunch of zeros on the end. Just put a bunch of them. Just go crazy. Have a good time. Okay? Then I ask myself, okay, where's the decimal point? And I go, there's the decimal point. You guys, is that cool? And which way am I going to move it to make it bigger? I'm going to go, right. How many spaces? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I put the decimal there. I do 2 more, and then I cross off whatever I have left. Isn't that kind of fun? I find that very useful and very easy. And then I rewrite the number all when I'm all said and done. So that's going to be 389. 1, 2, 3. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 4, 5, 6, 7.00. And then I go back every 3, and I block it off, and I give it parentheses. Does that make sense? Yeah, you guys okay with that? Okay, I want you to try this one on your own. Show them what you get. 9.097 times 10 to the negative. Anybody got an answer? Yeah? All right. Tell us what you got. Tell us what you came up with. Yeah. So I got 0 points. How many zeros did you get? 4 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then what'd you write down? 9097, and you would be correct. You'd be correct.